Question everything. So when it comes to the Aboriginal community, and you look at historical events that has devastated their community, a lot of it have to do with the race riots, white militias, KKK, other different types of organizational white groups coming to our communities and destroying all our black businesses, destroying all our homes, destroying all our resources when it comes to our communities, in the sense of what it is to have a community. And this has happened repeatedly throughout history. Every time the Negro was doing well in their communities and built their communities up and was utilizing their dollars to help each other, this United States system of white supremacy came and destroyed our communities. Yeah, this system, this whole reality of what we call the government and how it's set up and how it's controlled by the colonizers always came and destroyed our communities. And the evidence in the history is all there at the touch of a button today, when you can just Google a lot of this stuff, and a lot of it is still hidden. But even with the 42 million white folks that came through Ellis Island that years ago as immigrants, that was also an attack on our communities as well. That was a systematic attack to take us out of being the skilled laborers and the journeymen around America, to bring their people in that was struggling in Europe and give them high positions in United States as managers, owners of land, farmers, all different types of things. Martin Luther King actually talked about this, how the federal government was giving land all throughout the Midwest and the West, as well as land grants and built land grant colleges and stuff to be able to teach them how to mechanize their own land. You can look up that speech by Martin Luther King yourself. But these was all systematic attacks to circumvent us out of resources and out of the ability to mechanize our communities and to hold land and ownership of property. This was the trick. You know, they did many other different things as well, don't get me wrong, from the taxes to you name it. And it's been going on all the way back to when we was the Aboriginals of America, just like one of the very first Webster Dictionary books tell you. It was the copper-toned American Indian, the Moor, the Aboriginal Negro, who was the real American Indian. And then eventually that title resided with the descendants of the Europeans, now Native Americans. You can't make this stuff up. You just got to go look up the documents. That's why I gave you the reference, the Webster Dictionary, even told you this. So with that stated, we've been getting circumvented out of our identity, culture, land, history for quite some time. So now you look at the latest events. We wanting reparations and wanting a bill passed for protection against hate crime. And instead, what do the Democrats and the Republicans and this government does? Because it's both parties. You got to be a fool to not believe that. I mean, not believe, but to not know that. We got to get out of that belief and come into knowing, into knowing the truth. So with that stated, what you think the illegal immigrants is about? See, you want resources for your community. And the system say, well, we ain't giving them no reparations. We ain't giving them resources. We ain't giving them a bill passed protection against hate crime. What we're going to do is we're going to bring in more immigrants and call these illegal immigrants now asylum seekers. And then we're going to have them seek asylum in the Negro communities, in the black communities. So that way we can give them the resources that they need to build themselves up all around the black communities, at the same time using them as a buffer to not help the Aboriginal Negro communities, to not give them resources. So we'll revert what they're asking for as Aboriginal Negroes, as black folks, to the illegal immigrants and build them up at the same time, allowing the Aboriginal Negroes community to stay the same and get worse. And that's what's happening. Not to mention, with the resources going to the illegal immigrants and the funding that they're giving illegal immigrants, it gives them the ability to open up shop in our communities on all the different abandoned houses, land, and businesses that they won't give us loans or any type of resources to open up in our own community. This is what it's all about. This is why they're bringing them in. And it gives them a class of people that will be able to vote the way they want them to vote against us. This is what's happening right in your face right now while y'all bickering amongst each other as Negroes because they taught us to hate ourselves through all this self-hate movies, music, and everything else they put out. They're capitalizing on us right now as I speak. This is what the illegal immigrant movement is about, to take your community completely away from you. See, they can't come in with mobs like they used to, 10,000 deep, white militias and all this other stuff, and release the KKK and all sorts of people on you like they used to back in the day. So what they're doing is they bringing in a different group of people and releasing them on you. That's exactly what's happening. And if you can't see that, then man, you blind to it, dog. You're blind to what's going on, and you need to research for your babies and for your grandbabies so you can understand what's happening in order to protect them based off of what's going to go down when it comes to our communities being totally ripped from us because we're not getting resources for our people. And all these so-called appointed representatives that you see that look like me and you, that's supposed to be Negroes, they're gatekeepers. They're gatekeepers that have the delusion of nation helping. They're there for their legacy, and they're there for the system, and they're there for their oath to make you feel like they're going to do something for your community. In all retrospect, they're going to do the opposite for your community. Excuse my hands, because you know the hand gestures can mean many different things today, especially now that we're reading into them and learning what these gatekeepers are all about. So with that stated, understand this and combat it. Fight for reparations. Fight for your land back and money to mechanize your land. This is the only way we're going to be able to compete in our communities with the hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants that flood into our community and then funding them ahead of us. If you do not fight for reparations, if you do not get out in drones and fight for reparations, you're not going to get nowhere. And when I say fight, you gotta articulate the word for what it is. I'm talking about boycotting, protesting, and getting boots on the ground in these people's face and not willing to bend for what we need, and that's reparations. We need the money and land owed to us legally. And that's what we need to fight for. We don't want a handout. We don't want none of that. We want our justice. And that's the justice that they owe us. And until we get it, all we're going to see is our communities and our people get lower and lower and lower into the slums. And it's being done on purpose. They didn't come through with militias and KKK and all these different things they did to massacre our people and destroy our communities and our black-owned businesses in our community for nothing. They did it to put us in this position that we in today, and they capitalizing on it by bringing all these other illegal immigrants in to take over our communities while they funding them quietly and secretly through different grants, loans, and many different little packages that they got for them under their situation, at the same time circumventing you as the Aboriginal Negro out of your own land like they always been doing. At the same time, the schools, institutions, religious unions, universities are all helping. Y'all better wake up to what's really going on, because if you don't, before you know it, we already at the red light of being too late. And with that, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. But that is the question. You let me know. Peace, peace.